Cool. We've officially gotten started. I am so excited. It's been too long. It's been a couple weeks since I've been able to go live and to share my thoughts with you regarding voiceover and D&D and all these different things. For those that are catching this for the first time, my name is Right On Dale, or Dale, as you can see down here. I have been doing voiceover for cumulative 10, almost 15 years now. Holy crap. But I've actually bounced back and forth between different radio stations, and oftentimes there was one segment of my life where I was working for 4 different stations at a time, at the same time. And it was just a blast. And I realized that I was really invested in the vocal craft and telling stories, and I want to be able to share some of my experiences with you to be able to improve your tabletop role-playing experience, or even to break out in voiceover yourself. So, to get started, I want to welcome you to the Treasure Trove. That's the little server that I've created on Discord that I use to help encourage people to get into voice acting, to get more into their characters in D&D and in TTRPG. And I'm very excited today. We're going to be discussing how to manipulate your pitch. Now, pitch is a kind of a challenging topic at times, especially with guys that I've noticed. Male and masculine voices, or male and masculine speakers, tend to conflate pitch and resonance. Resonance is the quality of your voice that makes it sound like you could fill a room with your voice. And as we've discussed in other streams, your resonance has more to do with how many chambers of your vocal apparatus you are utilizing to make your sound. Your chest voice makes a much bigger, more powerful sound, but as you can tell, it also might sound like I'm dropping my pitch a bit. That's actually kind of a trend for masculine and male speakers. So we're going to try and isolate that. We're going to try and isolate and work with our pitch today. And to do that, we have a couple people that I've invited to join me on stage. I'll be bringing them on momentarily, and we'll introduce them. For now, I want to get into our warm-ups. And our warm-ups today are focusing mostly on our trills and our scales. Trills are basically going from a low pitch, maybe not the lowest that you can hit, but certainly lower than your normal speaking pitch. Like right now, this is my neutral pitch that I use to talk. Pretty dynamic. I go up and down. There's a lot of intonation there, but I'm going to go start at a low note and then bring my pitch up higher and higher over time. I'm also going to be pressing my air out using my diaphragm to try and make my lips buzz and trill. It's just a way to get my lips, my mouth, my jaw, and my diaphragm warmed up because we are going to be working with our voices. And I want to make sure that we are warm and prepared for that. So if you want to join me in that, that's fantastic. If not, then don't sweat it. For warm-ups, I'm going to start at low pitch. You can go either direction, but I'm going to start at a lower pitch than I normally do and work my way up to a higher pitch. Okay, that's nice. Sometimes I trill my lips so much it actually tickles, and it's a little weird. But it's whatever. I'm having fun and I'm doing good. You can also warm yourself up by doing a reverse trill, by starting up high and going down, 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 down. From there, I want you to, and those that are in the waiting room for this particular session, go ahead and feel free to continue warming up. Do what you need to do. If you need to get a sip of water, some tea, whatever you need. I always encourage people to start off doing tongue twisters as well when they're starting to record for a audition, for voiceover, or for a script that they're reading, or even for a TTRPG like Dungeons and Dragons. That being the case, I'm going to take a quick sip of water. I have not been hydrating as much as I would like, but that is also one of the biggest tips that I offer, is to make sure that you are drinking. I see some people in the chat that are kind of waggling their fingers a little bit. I'm not sure if I'm seeing that correctly, but yeah, I see you, Greg. Okay. You have to say the at the end of a sip, otherwise it's not an official drink. Okay. Let's move on to our technique. Now, this part of our stream today is going to be a little different. Normally, I help demonstrate and coach people through the process, but This is going to be a little bit more labor intensive for those that are interested in trying out their pitch and learning their own limits. For this, I want to invite you to, there's a bunch of different apps out there, and you can Google these. You can go on your app store and find these out. There are a bunch of free different tuner apps for guitar, for piano. Download one of those. Download a free piano app of your choice, whatever you're comfortable with. And I want you to explore. I want you to practice hitting the note, seeing it with your tuner, and then transitioning to the piano app and then listening back to what you hear, going lower down the scale and higher up the scale. Your scales are going to be really important to figure out your vocal range. And for me, when I've warmed up, when I've done everything right, when I've done everything that I need to, I've discovered that my range goes from C4, which is on my high end, that's like the highest that I can go, down to C0. And that's I understand. I didn't know this at the time, but after talking with different people in my other discords and vocal groups, I learned really quick that that's kind of a big range. And I've learned that by pushing myself and by experimenting with my range, I have increased that range. Now, every single voice is going to be different. Every single person, the way that they're built is different. So don't expect that you're going to jump in there and do a 4-octave range and expect to be okay in your voice. I don't want this to be an exercise in how to hurt yourself. I would much rather empower you to do what it is that you want with your voice. So find your upper limit and your lower limit in the course of this next week. That is your homework. Yes, I did say the H word. I am so sorry. But make sure that you are taking care of yourself. Do what you can to experiment and find what your highest pitch is and your lowest pitch is. Now, to try and separate the two, I want you to think about things this way. I was actually trying to experiment with this because for masculine speakers and for like myself as a man and as a male, I find that it's really hard to differentiate between pitch and timbre. We've already discussed this a little bit. But as I was experimenting with it, I wanted to demonstrate what that might sound like. If you use your timbre naturally and you start to open up your chest cavity to make yourself sound more big and powerful, you might notice that my pitch has also dropped. But what would it sound like? I tried to experiment with this. What would it sound like if you tried to bring your pitch up while your resonance was still open? It sounds contradictory, and for guys, as they experiment, they may find that it's much more difficult to do that kind of a thing. I'm going to try it anyway, and then I'll flip it and do small resonance with a deep voice. We'll see how it goes. So big, powerful voice, and we'll raise our pitch just a bit like this, and it sounds a little bit like a Barney, I guess, from Barney the dinosaur. But that's essentially what it is. You don't necessarily have to conflate the two vocal tools there in order to reach a high note or low note. You don't have to rely on your timbre. If you're skilled at it, you can actually utilize your timbre to reach new lows and reach new highs, which I actually suggest for you to do if you're into singing and to learn that. Use that background to your advantage when you're learning how to manipulate your pitch as a speaker and not just as a singer. But yeah, that's kind of how that one goes. Let's flip it around and see how it sounds the other way. So I'm going to use, instead of my chest voice, which sounds a lot bigger, I'm going to move it up to my nasal voice, the nasal cavity, and my mask voice is what it's technically called. So now my resonance is a little bit smaller sounding, and it sounds a little bit more feeble, I guess, from other discussions that we've had. And from here, I'm going to lower my pitch down as well, and it's going to sound a little bit weird because it's very nasally, but I've also lowered. You can see that I've actually stretched my Adam's apple down as far as it can go to try and reach that point. And I want you to be able to see that. If you really want to experiment and learn how to use your voice, you're going to have to try and do things that feel unnatural and see yourself doing them. So if you have a mirror, that helps out a lot in trying to master how your vocal apparatus works. You'll notice different things as you watch yourself and as you listen back to yourself that will be immensely helpful for improving your technique. So do that on your own this next week, especially you four that are on stage. We're going to bring you in just a minute. I want you guys to practice this over the coming week and to really experiment and see how it is that you feel as you are practicing your pitch. Feel free to reach out to me as well, E04, and ask me about how you can improve. What I'm looking for, the assignment, if you will, it's not really homework, I'm not grading you, but if you want to improve, the opportunity is there. What I'd like for you to do is learn your range. I want you to learn what your highest and lowest pitch is, your highest and lowest note, you could say, on a piano. I'm trying to remember where a traditional upright piano. I'm trying to remember where the scale starts on one of those. But if any of you on the private chat here are there, or if you want to talk about that, then let me know. Also, if you are here streaming with us, if you're watching the stream, hi, welcome. Thanks for being here. If you have any questions for me or for any sort of techniques that we're working on for pitch or other vocal tools, drop it in the chat. If you just want to share some love, feel free to do that as well. All right. I believe it's time for us to... Oh, fantastic. Alexandria just shared Pocket Pitch is a good app for piano and what note you're singing. Thank you so much, Alexandria. We're going to be utilizing that over the next week. So make sure that you four have that handy as you're practicing this. Now, again, this is not an assignment. I don't expect for you to turn around and be like, okay, I did the assignment. What's my grade? This is to help you improve. I expect people that are here on these feeds and on the server to be present, to be there, and to seek to improve. So if that's the case, I'm opening myself up to you. And I want you to be here. I want you to be successful. Whatever questions you have, let me know. Now, we've done a very quick run through of how to demonstrate different things. Right now, I'm going to actually challenge our guests tonight to utilize the tool of pitch in how they portray their characters in a live D&D super short one shot. There's not a lot of there's not a lot of like pomp or circumstance that I can say beyond that. It is basically a miniaturized one shot that I do for our purposes here. Now, as you can see, I am going to be your local dungeon master for the time being. I am rocking a teal and rose gold dice set. I've got my D20 ready to go. I'm also working with a leather outer lined, and I forget what fabric that is called. Do you ever have a brain fart where you forget exactly what you're thinking of? Like felt lining. It's nice and red and soft and yeah. I'm ready to go. So without further ado, I am going to invite our friends onto the stage. Hi guys, go ahead and unmute yourselves. Hey, that is a gorgeous die, Greg.
Hello.
Okay, Alexandria. No, you got to hold that up, Alexandria. Show us what you're rocking.
Ooh, those are nice.
Lovely. Those metal. Are big too.
Wormwood. These were
Yes.
a Christmas gift from a buddy of mine. And
Nice.
then my favorite. Where did it go? Hold on.
You're good. Right now, just make sure that you have your die ready, because we will be using these. Ooh.
Does digital count?
Yes.
All my dice are downstairs.
Yes, that's just fine. Don't sweat it. If you've got your digitals, that's great. If you have D&D Beyond, that's great. Don't sweat the small stuff here. We're only doing D20 rolls. So whenever you guys are prepared, we're going to jump in here. Before we get started, I think I've already confirmed that we have our characters set, right? If you would, please send me a picture. Oh, Nightlight. I talked to Nightlight before this. I'm going to let him know that I don't need his help. Okay. All right. So, as we are beginning, what I like to do to test my pupils, my hoardlings for the serve, I call my participants hoardlings because it is a treasure trove. It is a hoard of knowledge. I like to have my guests join me in a short D&D game. I'll be rolling a D20 to determine the outcome of different events, and I will allow the players to essentially role play different things. There's not going to be a whole lot of major skill checks or bonuses we're going to be using. We are just relying on the die. So, without further ado, I'm going to have you guys do a speed round, introduce your character. You don't necessarily have to give too much of a description because we're going to do that as we play. Introduce yourself and introduce the name of your character. I'm going to actually call you by name so we have a little bit of order here. So, Jack, why don't you get us started off?
All right, I know the mic was a little bad earlier. Is it better now?
It's great.
Okay, all right. All right, I'm Jack. I don't know what sort of information you want me to give. I've been playing
What's
D&D
your character's name?
Playing D&D for a while. My character's name is Bear.
Nice.
I'm a Beast-Hide Shifter monk.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That is awesome. Okay, and how long have you been doing D&D?
I've been doing D&D for, oh man, it's been a long time. 7 or 8 years probably.
Nice.
Since I was like a freshman in high school, so it's been
That's fantastic.
It's been a while, yeah.
It's been a while.
I love that song.
Do you want us to send the photo directly to you?
If you would, yeah. That'd be
Okay.
very helpful.
Do.
All right. Jack, pleasure to have you here. Jake. Jack and Jake went up the hill. No, they did not. Jake, how are you, sir? Introduce yourself, your character, and how long you've been playing D&D.
Hi, I'm Jake. My character is Sven Shieldhammer. He is a Goliath College of Valor bard.
Nice.
Yeah, it's interesting character. And I've been playing D&D almost 9 years now, I think. Wow. It is 2022, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah,
it
9
is
years.
still 2022. Excellent. No, the flux capacitors have not broken. We are still in 2022.
Sadly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Let's not focus on that. Greg, you are now being punished for saying that. Introduce yourself, your character, and how long you've been playing D&D.
My name is Greg. It was wonderful to be here tonight with you all. My character's name is Yannick. Yannick is a blood hunter, a Order of the Crimson Court blood hunter, which is a cult, for lack of a better term, of vampire hunters. And we have embraced blood magic in order to hunt these monstrosities. I've been playing, so my first game of D&D was exactly 10 years ago, and it was 3.5.
Oh my heck, happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome.
I played with that group for like 2 solid years, and we played 3.5 Sunless Citadel, and it was a blast. First time with D&D, and it was great. And then I took a break for a couple of years, and then I got introduced to a homebrew in the town that I live, and I've been playing with that group for like the better part of like 6 years. And then 5th Ed happened, and I've been heavy.
Yep.
So
that tracks. Awesome. Well, again, happy anniversary. I'm glad to have you here.
thank you.
Lastly, but not leastly, Alexandria, how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Doing so good, thank you. Okay.
So I am Alexandria. My character is Elia. Actually, the first version of my current character. She is a 7'8" Firbolg wizard who was raised mostly by elves. And I've been playing D&D since February.
That is awesome. This year?
This year, I've been watching it for a longer time with Critical Role, but I haven't started playing until this year.
That's awesome.
Welcome.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm not the baby. I started D&D. I should introduce myself. Hi, I'm Dale. No, just kidding. I have been playing D&D since February 2 years ago. And it's been an absolute blast. I've basically been a part of 3 different campaigns. 2 of them fell out, and the current one is still going. And It's a total blast. I love my crew. I love my table. They're awesome. I've done probably a half dozen one-shots by now, and I plan on continuing those in between. For now, we're going to get into our little scenario. I'm going to make sure that I have my script ready to go. I like to have an idea of where we are going with this so we know where to completely jump off the rails when needed.
Can I do a little bit of a shameless plug here?
Sure, shameless plug. Go ahead.
So, every other Saturday, I do a homebrew campaign for the people in my state, like my friends and my fiance and the guy who made the system that we play in. The big bad for that campaign is my necromantic sorcerer character from my buddy's homebrew campaign, where we're currently going through a Dante's Inferno heavily inspired underworld type deal.
That's awesome.
I'm about to lose my
cool.
current character. Quote, lose.
Okay.
Lose my current character. It's totally up between me and him. We came up with this so that this character gets an exit and the beginning of the path to turn him into the Shadow Lich that has almost destroyed the made-up world that I have.
Oh, boy.
The entire thing has been based off of 2 albums. And this third one has been chock full of writing material. It's so
nice.
good. I'm so pumped. And the fact that me and my buddy connected these 2 together just like on a whim, and then there's so much of it that's been crazy involved just between the 2 campaigns, and they're thousands of years apart.
Nice.
D&D is fun.
No, seriously. I mean, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't. Okay, so let us begin. As you guys are getting into your characters, I'm just going to explain a little bit of how we're going through this. And based on how you interact with one another, you guys can kind of create relationships between one another amongst yourselves. You can use the private chat to decide, hey, I know you from before. Is that cool? Because we're just getting started with this. For now, I want you to picture what it's like driving on the highway. If you've traveled the country, if you've traveled to California, to Arizona, and you roll down your windows, you realize that your AC is probably the only thing saving you from being buffeted by nothing but hot, dry air. Today is not that, but it has been that for the past 2 weeks, as a series of dust storms and sandstorms has buffeted you and your party as you have been crossing a desert to reach a renowned oasis. Now, part of this caravan has been strong in their travels. You started out with 6 other groups, families, patrols, other groups. But because of the storms and because of wild beasts and monsters, you and 1 other group are all that remain. It has been taxing, but because of your interactions with one another, your spirits have been high. And as you've sought to get to know other members of the party, other members of the other group, and your caravan leader, you have found that the last few days have been slightly more than bearable. The sun is beating down. A couple of you are realizing too late that you forgot your sunscreen back at the cabin, back at the tavern. And you feel it. Skin is tight, blistered in some spots, but it is still good company. And that is your one solace. You're nearly out of water. I want you to make sure you remember that. And as we open, all right, slow it down. Let's take a break here. The caravan leader, Moshe, turns to face you. He has dark skin, a jet black shock of hair that's cut short. And his ears, long elven ears, they don't go necessarily out or diagonal. They are almost curving around the backside of his head. And you have the sense that this man has probably trained his ears to do that over the course of his life. He seems to have everything in check about his person, about his dress. He has a long sleeve tunic that is made from a breathable fabric. He has a wide brimmed hat to protect himself from the sun. And he only sips on his water occasionally. You can tell that he has done this. He's well practiced and he's ready to go. Greg, you have been in close conversation with Moshe for the better part of the journey. And I'm going to let you decide how you interact with Moshe. But right now you decide to approach him and ask a couple questions.
And we are not currently at the Oasis, but we are coming up to.
Yes,
Is that right?
You are approaching the Oasis.
All right. Due to my character's pale complexion, he does have a parasol that kind of matches his more, almost like this, like a. I don't know what the style is, but it's like this musketeer kind of outfit.
Oh, yeah.
Rapier at his side. He's got this very like nice black and gold kind of trim thing going on. Dark brown hair comes down into like kind of a bob cut with a very stylish pencil mustache, tiny little. Oh yeah, dude slick. But he's got matching parasol. Yeah, he'll approach Moshe. My dear caravan master, approximately how much longer do we have until we are at our destination? The sun is quite atrocious.
No, it looks atrocious just looking at you. And he'll just saying that, he'll turn and look ahead, have this like squinty middle distance epic stare for about 5 seconds before he nods and looks at you. I'd say at this pace we're going to be a few more hours. We can try and pick up the pace, but frankly, with all the travel that we've been doing and the losses we've taken, I'd rather we stay in good spirits than rush this and get ourselves hurt more. You understand?
I understand.
All right. Why don't you go check back on that, any of them, honestly. People don't seem to talk to me after we lose the first couple people, and we've lost 6 other groups. So if you wouldn't mind, just check on the others and come back to me.
I will do this for you.
Thank you.
I'll slowly walk away, or I guess I'll slow down and just wait for others to catch up, slowly sipping on my water. It's red and viscous. It's weird water. Don't ask.
Nice. All right, Jake
Yeah.
and Alex. Is it okay if I call you Alex? Okay. Jake and Alex, I picture you two walking together. However you two have clicked over the course of the past few weeks, doesn't matter if you are opposites in every way of the understanding of the word. You have managed to come together for this moment to talk, commiserate, crack jokes, whatever it is you feel like you need to keep the mood light. Jake, what are you doing?
So this 8'2" Goliath, covered in full Viking armor, furs, is finally taking off his 3rd pelt, leaving only 2 more because it's starting to get a little hot, just a little hot.
Just a little.
And as he's walking, he is playing his instrument. And by instrument, we mean his shield covered in a pigskin and his warhammer smashing against it.
Nice.
And he looks over and says, "Oi, I." It's getting a little hot in here. I don't. I don't quite like it here. I prefer my mountains, where it's a little cooler. You know, I've had to take off a couple pelts, and I don't want to take off the last two. It, they cover me nice and well. I'm covered in scars, and they're hideous.
That is completely understandable. It's really quite hot out here. But do what you need to do. Your health is far more important. And
Alexandria, what is your character doing right now?
she's currently carrying a makeshift parasol woven out of 5 or 6 different knitted scarves. And she's just taken whatever pieces of debris she's found by the side and just kind of crafted a little shield and is holding it above to try and shield herself from the sun and kind of surreptitiously hiding in the shade of the Goliath. Just pretty much steadfastly moving along with definitely signs of being affected by the heat.
To that point, the sun, you're not going to have a whole lot more time. The sun is coming up to high noon. And what shade you have been able to scrounge off of this Goliath friend of yours is swiftly disappearing. So keep that in mind. In fact, Jake, if you would, and Greg too, actually, I want you both to make a constitution check, just a regular D20.
Check, not saving throw.
Just a check, yeah.
18.
18.
Also an 18.
Excellent. So even though you guys have got like a super deep sunburn and you've managed to shed layers, yeah, you're sweating, you're dehydrated, Jake, but both of you, whether it's blisters or dehydration, you are taking it very well. And Greg, actually, as your character has slowed pace, is now passing, falling behind Jake and Alexandria's characters. You kind of overhear them chatting a little bit, overhear whatever this Goliath might call music. And I say that in full respect of your craft.
As I'm like catching up, or not catching up, but as they're catching up with me, just to let you all know, it seems it'll be a couple more hours until we reach our destination, according to our esteemed caravan master.
Thank you very much.
Nice. Where is I forget names. Where is the other one?
And it's at this point, Jack, that as the group kind of turns behind to look at the other group, as this party turns to look at the other group, you notice that 2 pretty strong donkeys are pulling a wagon. And sitting in the wagon is a halfling teenage girl who is currently looking at her nails from underneath her wide-brimmed hat, straw, self-made wide-brimmed hat, and like biting at her nails, flicking out what she has. She's just done with hygiene. She's sick of it. And you can tell she's bothered that she smells like a dumpster pile. But she's just accepted it, and it's just like, once we get to the oasis, you can even hear her muttering those kind of things as you've been traveling for the past few days. You notice that there's an older halfling woman that slaps the younger one from the side of the cart, just a little pat on the shoulder, and the girl says, "What was that for?" "Now, dear, you're not supposed to be biting your nails like that. It's a disgusting habit that your father lets you do." And from the other side of the wagon, yes, shots were fired, I know. From the other side of the wagon, you hear an older halfling man that basically says, he doesn't say anything, he's just grunts in frustration at the fact that what you assume and have learned to be his wife speaks so openly about him that way. Jack, you are behind the wagon, and you are walking slowly with your hand, one finger completely enveloped by the pudgy little fist of a 2-year-old halfling boy. He was restless in the cart, and for whatever reason, he saw you, and you were the one that he wanted to walk with. Mom and Dad asked if you would walk with him, and you, not trying to be rude, said, I'll do that. Tell me what you're talking about this little 2-year-old about.
Does he have a name?
Yes, that is Fanon.
With an F?
Yes,
Fanon.
Fanon.
Well, Fanon, you see, you should really try and take this jacket you have and maybe do like you see this big serpent headdress that I wear.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So
That's a big snake.
right, exactly. So maybe try and take your jacket and put it over your head, and it'll protect your face from the sun, as it's very hot outside.
I can have it? And you just see his face brightens. And it's like, do you put it on his head right now?
Mhm.
Okay. So he reaches his tiny little halfling arms as far as they can go. This hat is just barely too big. So it goes funk and covers his eyes. But he's like supporting the middle of like the drooping sides with his tiny little hands. No longer holding your hand anymore, but just kind of pudging along, boop, 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 as a chunky little 2-year-old might. And that's when Greg's character calls your name, calls for you to make yourself known.
It's a bear, by the way, just so you know.
Bear. Excellent.
And what was your character's name again?
Bear.
Bear. Okay, so it was Bear. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah.
my bad. Bear.
Yes,
Excellent.
I'm here.
His name is fun to say. What can I say? Is everything okay back there? We have a couple of hours before we reach our destination.
Only
I
a
am
couple of
checking-
hours.
I suppose that is what I've been told. I am passing along a message.
And I'll pat Fanon on the head and I'll say, "You hear that, buddy? It's only going to be a little longer, okay?"
Fanon looks, he's like, the only thing you hear is, I have a hat.
Yes, you do.
So you guys continue for a bit, and Greg, you, rather than stopping at Jack's character, stopping at Bear, you have continued to fall back behind, and you've noticed that the final member of the other group has fallen back pretty far. And this orcish woman is dressed in clothing that is a bit too hot. It's still protective, but it's a bit too hot. And her hat is starting to get soaked through from the sweat, from the workout, from the heat, from the moving. She's fallen pretty far back. And the rest of the party's keeping a good pace. It's not fast, but you can tell that she's struggling.
Okay, I'm just looking through my supplies real quick just to see if I had anything.
Sure.
I have alchemist supplies.
Mhm.
Would I have anything in here like a drinkable liquid or some sort of soluble powder that would maybe be able to help her rehydrate?
I think that like a health potion would probably be fine.
Can
like
I give
lesser
her a health
potion?
Okay, yeah. Can I give her a lesser health potion?
That's great. So
I will
you've made your way
approach
back
her.
to her, and
Mhm.
she notices that you're coming to her.
I've got the brim of my hat. Well, the hat. Hold on, the hat's like out to
Huge.
here.
Yeah.
Huge. Huge.
Huge.
Really huge, like plume in it too.
Oh yeah.
But I'll come up to her with the potion out and put it into her hands. Madame, please, you may need this more than I do. You are not looking so well.
No, I couldn't possibly take it from you. It's super kind of you, but honestly, I think I can manage. And you can see that she's not going to manage.
Yeah. Oh no, please! I insist. In fact, I can try to get you into the cart and have you carried the rest of the way.
Oh, well, I mean, if I don't take this the wrong way, but I got hired by this halfling family as a favor, and it's just kind of, it's rough trying to keep up with them. They're so lively, and I'm no spring chicken anymore. You understand? But it's just, it's hard, and I just need a little bit of time, maybe a little bit of recognition every once in a while.
I understand. Excuse me one moment, and I will. I'll excuse myself from her and try to catch up.
Did you leave the potion?
Yeah, I left the potion with her.
Okay, she's sipping on it now.
Good. I'm gonna go to the side of the car. Is the halfling man driving, or is it the wife?
So the halfling man is not on the cart. He's trying to make sure that whoever is in the cart is taking the least amount of pressure on the donkeys that are pulling it. And even though this is desert, it is also a very tread path. This is dirt and soil, so the donkeys can manage.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just the heat is just so terrible. But yes, the dad is currently up in front, side by side with the donkeys, encouraging them, petting them, scratching their ears, all that.
Okay. I'm going to come up to him. Excuse me, monsieur. We have a slight problem with one of our companions. She is quite frail.
Gut? He looks behind as he says Gut. He looks back at the orc. That's her name. Yeah. Oh, she's a tank. She doesn't know any better than hard labor and working, and she actually does a pretty good job taking care of Fanon as well. And she actually schools up Reagan as well. And they're right, Reagan. And the teenage girl like barely lifts an eye, and keeps picking at her fingernails,
as teenage girls are wont to do.
Jake, you're raising your hand.
Can I notice this and drop back to her?
Sure.
Cool. I'm gonna come up to her and say, I have seen you are lagging behind, so I have come to encourage you a little bit, if that is okay. And he starts smacking his hammer on a shield, like puts it back up and goes, starts ham boning. And says,
roll a performance check really quick, and then we'll get back to Greg.
Can I drop back and assist with that?
Sure, both of you roll a d20.
I want to cast something on her, if I can, after I do this.
Sure, let's see how this goes.
You know, and I got rid of my spells, so I was looking through to try to find my spells before I remembered that I changed my character completely before this, so no spells.
There you go.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20?
Dirty 20.
She's not outright dancing, but you can tell like her pace has picked up and she's walking in step with the beat. She is enjoying this. What kind of spell did you cast?
I am going to be casting Enhance Ability.
Ooh.
And I'm going to go up to her and say, I am feeling quite generous, so I will give you some bear's endurance.
And at this point, this orcish woman, she's a stout lady. It's just that she hasn't moved like this and under these conditions before. You can probably imagine that in a forest glade, she'd be chopping wood all day, but this is just terrible. Regardless, you now see a flicker in her eye as she moves forward with the same energy and determination as she would doing any other chores around her home. She's good to go. Like these last couple hours, at least for one. How long does the spell last? I'm quizzing you now.
Up to 1 hour.
Okay, for the next hour, it's going to be awesome for her. And she kind of looks at you and she looks at you. Well, thank you kindly, young man. That was downright nice of you.
It's my pleasure. I'm here to help everyone.
I
Onward
love
I
this
go.
character. I'm gonna go.
Why do you
Beautiful.
sound like a villain? It was my pleasure.
It's either that or the guy from Frozen. Oh, big summer
Hi.
blowout.
There's a reason I named him Sven.
Yes!
Sven. No.
Yes!
No, it's not Sven. What's his name? Oh,
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
he's my favorite character.
Oaken,
Yoo-hoo,
yeah.
Big summer blowout.
Yes.
Say hello, family. Hello.
Forget
Hello.
Elsa. Oaken's where it's at, man.
Is your character's name actually Oaken?
It is now. I couldn't remember
Okay.
his name.
It is
but
now.
In that case, I would like to turn back to you, and I'm gonna go, Oaken, I'll flag you down.
There. Yes.
Me and Fanon here were actually just enjoying some of your playing, and he seemed to be clapping along and trying to dance a little bit. Would you mind playing for him again?
Oh, absolutely.
This kid he's in Disneyland, right? For the first time in his life, he's in Disneyland. That's just the only way I can describe it. Grin, clapping, dancing, jumping. I need Alexandria. I need you to roll a perception check.
All right. That fell. Okay. Ooh. That is perception. Not good. That is a 5.
5? Okay. You hear from the front of the caravan, everyone's kind of falling back at this point, we've all bundled together around this cart. And there's some good vibes, there's good energy, especially with the music. But you hear Caravan Master Moshe, hey! And he actually, once he gets your attention, you see him jogging, like running back to you, not stopping, but running back to you. And you, Jake, he runs up to Oaken. What are you doing? Listen, I know you're excitable. I mean, you're probably paid to do this, sadly. But here's the deal. Right now, you see this up ahead? And he points up ahead. There's actually, if you've ever been to, or if you've ever seen postcards or photos of Moab, Utah, with the big red sandstone, like eroded features that are just gorgeous, the towers that are there, Devil's Canyon, that is exactly what you see before you. But these pillars range in size from 10 feet wide to 500 feet wide. And they scale anywhere from 5 feet tall to well over 20. And Moash is pointing up ahead, points back at you, Oaken. Okay, I will literally pay you. I will literally pay you
Oh, I'm not getting
to
paid for this.
shut your mouth, keep your hands to your sides, and put your instruments, and he like gives you this level look when he says instruments, away for now. We're coming up on an area where we have some critters that really like sound. And I would hope that you have enough common sense to keep yourself quiet. Is that clear?
I'll put my hands in my pockets.
Well done. And he will like, as this is happening, he's like,
quietly.
he gives you this weird look, like sideways look, as he slowly turns around and checks again and then looks forward to continue leading the caravan. Doesn't run ahead, but he is, you've kind of struck a nerve with this guy. He can't read you very well.
So is his name Moshe or Moash? Because this is very important what you're about to tell me next.
Moshe.
Okay. He lives for now.
I appreciate that. Okay. Now I need each of you. Jack, actually, I want you. Let's Let's do it this way. Moshe yelling the way that he is, yelling, getting everyone's attention, running back, having this genuine, serious demeanor. Fainan's not happy about that. He's a very sensitive kid, and he saw that, and he is quiet now. Roll a perception.
11.
Yeah, it wouldn't be too difficult to hear this. You hear an occasional sniff from him as you're walking forward. Still has the hat on. The hat's downturned. And it's at that point that his mom hears this, and she's had a good break, but she comes back and nods and says, "Thank you," and picks him up, moves forward, sets him in the cart, and continues to walk. Now, for this next part, I need each of you to roll a stealth check. Regular D20. Drop it in the private chat.
Just straight D20.
Straight D20. Gosh, I love the sound of a good D20 roll. Yep, just pop it right in. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So you start creeping through these sandstone pillars. And as you're going, you notice that what breeze that was buffeting you or hitting you with nothing but hot air is gone. It's stifling, stuffy, sometimes even hard to breathe, even though there's plenty of space for you to walk around. You feel the sun reflecting off of the red sandstone, almost like a mirror. Not quite as intense, but it increases the temperature. And Oaken, as you were walking, those pelts are starting to look real cumbersome by now. Alexandria, I need you to roll perception.
Try this again. That is 15.
15? Something catches your attention, steals your attention, and when you look, you see the tail end of an enormous, hairy scorpion stinger as it scuttles behind a larger pillar. But it's just a quick instant and it's gone.
I'm immediately just going to shake my hands free of the sleeves, do the traditional wizard shake, and start very casting looks at everybody with quick gestures trying to indicate, be alert.
Jack, can you roll me a roll me an intelligence check to be able to pick up on this?
$16. Sorry, I muted it.
Okay, 16. Okay. So you gather from her that this is what she's seen and what might transpire. I'll leave it up to you. This is the last thing we're going to do before I need to cut the session and give you guys some quick round of critiques. Do you want to continue to stealth or do you want to begin a dash? You guys drop it in the private chat, but do it quick because we have to get moving. Both in-game and out of game. Stick to your answers. Don't let anyone else sway you. Just say what you want to do. Jake, I'll let you do that. Go ahead and describe what you're suggesting for people at home.
All right. So I'm going to see this stinger tail and I'm going to cast polymorph. So polymorph. Let me read the actual description here. The spell transforms a creature that you can see within range into a new form. An unwilling creature must make a wisdom saving throw to avoid the effect. There's a
So,
whole list. So it needs to make a wisdom saving throw and beat a 14. Or be turned into a dolphin.
a 14?
Yeah.
It got a 14. So, to that point, because you only saw the tail, Alexandria, and because I would say that it was reasonably easy for Jake to have spotted, for your character to have spotted this thing on the other side, the front end of the pillar, that there was something that this enormous scorpion sensed, that it's now the stinger was kind of bobbing up and down lazily as it walked, but now there's some rigidity almost as it moves, as it scuttles to one side, scuttles to another side, but it is not facing you. And that's when you hear, coming from the opposite direction, another set of spinally chitinous legs crackling beyond another wall of redstone. That's where we're going to have to leave it for now. But I want you guys to just kind of picture that. That's how we're going to end it. I like leaving cliffhangers like this. Very quickly, because I need to get off very
goof.
fast. I really appreciated what you guys each chose to do with your pitches, how you decided to utilize higher pitches for a larger character. That is what I like to call the rule of contrast. It's a personal preference of mine in creating my characters. I like finding something in the character's voice that becomes a contrast to how they appear in the world. So that was a fantastic choice on your part, Jake. Jack, I found that I really was engrossed with your character, with this feminine speaking, this feminine presenting character, as the artwork showed at least. And I felt like your pitch control was very good. I look forward to seeing what you can do as we explore your range over the next week. And I really hope that you continue working on this, not because, I don't want to say because you don't need it, but because I want you to continue to improve the control and the range that you have, because I want to empower you as a performer.
Thank you.
Okay, Alexandria, very well done. I appreciated the energy that you brought to this character, and I feel like it's more because of your personality coming through too, that this Furbog was someone that I wanted to just hang out with, like give her a hug.
She's very insecure.
Yes.
When she becomes more secure, I drop her pitch down to about here.
Yes. And those are great choices. I really appreciate that. Continue to practice that. Continue trying to utilize and kind of staggering out how you make those changes. If it's a one shot, go ahead and make the transition in one game. If it's a campaign, try and be judicious in moments where she feels confident, but her natural timbre, her natural pitch is going to be kind of higher pitched. When she's confident, that's when she starts sitting in on the pitch and dropping it down. Greg, that was awesome work. I actually really appreciated the accent work as well. And I really felt like the high-pitched voice complemented your character's bombastic dress. And I feel like this is a way for your character to stand out visually and auditorially. I really hope that's a word, but I know it's not. In a cast of other characters that might be presenting their own character voices.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, on all accounts, guys, very well done. I am going to call the session finished for this week. It's been a blast hanging out with you. Thank you so much for being here. Next week, for those that are interested in checking that out, let me quickly remind myself what it is that we're going to be talking about. And if you are watching the stream and you're a part of the Treasure Trove group, make sure that you put yourself down as a volunteer for next week. Those that are a part of a group this week, I'm going to ask that you do not apply for the next week. I know it's rough, but we want to make sure that we get the goodness around and make sure we get a lot more people on here. I want to make sure we give people a moment to be coached. So now I got to go find it.
I know you were talking about a potential session for Saturday. My group
Well,
got canceled.
I am going to be, well, I
could
could
live
be
stream a
doing
one-shot?
something, but I will have to ask my wife and let you know. Yes, I'm one of those. Family comes first. IRL comes first.
Greg, as far as I know, I'm free this Saturday, so I heard one shot.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
guys.
well, that's what I was just mentioning to him. We do the same thing on StreamYard to YouTube, whatever, stream a one-shot. Have a good time. I would like to be player. I've never played Blood Hunter. I want to try Blood Hunter.
Nice.
That would be
So-
awesome.
Next week, guys, those that are watching at home and those that are here, we are going to be discussing 3 principles. It'll be jam-packed, it'll be quick, but they all focus on the shape of your mouth. That is your age, your gender, and your diction. So if you're interested in learning more about that, join me next week. Join me and the rest of the folks in the Treasure Trove next week. Oh, you can count on it. Musical Villain says. There you go. Awesome. And by the way, for those watching at home, please drop in the general chat that you are volunteering for next week. I will take 4 people. 4 for this upcoming week. Thanks so much, guys. You've been fantastic here on the stage. It's so much fun playing with you guys. I'm going to call this session finished, and I will see you next week.
Bye.
Love ya.
Have a great